KEEL.com. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty. Mike is off today. My buddy Scott Hughes is in studio. And we are joined by Justin Dixon from the North Louisiana Economic Partnership. Get a little email yesterday that talked about $6 billion more.
Billion. You said billion with a B.
Coming from Amazon.
We don't play with the small ones.
On their investment in data centers here. Is this $6 billion aimed at the Shreveport one on Greenwood Road? Is that where that's good? Are they expanding it? Are they making it bigger? What's the plan?
So one of the things they noticed is they're actually shrinking their footprint by about 14%.
Footprint bringing the physical size of the building.
Absolutely.
That's good for the neighbors.
Absolutely. But yes, that is $6 billion of new investment going into Resilient Technology Park.
$6 billion more to make it smaller? Help me with that.
To make it smaller? No. This is for a total of $18 billion going into Northwest Louisiana.
Okay. The $6 billion will be spent on...
Is on the construction of the facility.
Okay.
Yeah. But that also comes along with additional jobs.
Is the one at Resilient Park, which is Greenwood Road, this was already in the works. We're already working on it, but it had a little legal hiccup. Correct. Is the legal hiccup done now?
Apparently enough for them to announce that they're moving forward.
That's what it looks like.
Absolutely.
So the total investment on all three data centers in our area is now at $18 billion.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. Largest project ever announced in Northwest Louisiana with 750 permanent jobs, which they are contractually obligated to pay 150% of the statewide average.
And
today, that's about $90,000.
And let me try to put that number in perspective. I think as many of our listeners know, you know this, I'm the CEO of the local Realtor Association. My people sell the houses. Mm-hmm. In a normal year in this community, we will sell about 5,000 houses. We will sell them at about $250,000 a home right now. The entire combined sales of all the homes in the entire region is $1.3 billion annually.
Wow.
And this man just announced an $18 billion investment, to be fair, over a couple of years. Right. It's not a one-year dump in $18 billion. It's going to be probably over 4 or 5 years.
Correct, but they are moving quickly. They've already poured concrete on the North Bossier and the North Caddo site on the first two buildings. You will see this coming up quickly. You will see buildings open and operating in 2027.
Brings me to my next point. They're working fast on two of the sites. Are we seeing tax revenues come in as a result?
That's a great question. I was with some of the officials in Bossier Parish yesterday.
And now they have one of these.
They have one of these.
Has two of these.
Exactly. Bossier Parish expects to hit their annual sales tax revenue by September of this year. So it is starting to churn through.
And you can directly correlate it with this.
Oh, I can. You know I can.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, we actually asked them what other big projects have happened in the area that could have spurred this.
I mean, they had I-20. They've had some construction.
Exactly.
That's my point with the housing. Every house sold in this community generates $1.3 billion annually. Mm-hmm. He says $18 billion. The number is dwarfing the economy when you
back
look at
to the
revenue.
Sales tax. Mm-hmm. Our beloved friend John Settle put an article out this morning, and it showed that Bossier Parish and Caddo Parish and Caddo Sheriff and Caddo Schools, the sales taxes are up in all but one of the taxing jurisdictions in Northwest Louisiana.
Which one's not up?
The city of Bossier City.
Okay.
But it's coming.
It's coming, right.
Yes. And the one in Bossier is not in the city. It's in the parish. So the one in Shreveport is in the city.
Let me ask you about that, because they're buying concrete. They're hiring. I mean, the supplies they're using on the construction, are they trying to buy it local? Are they trying to buy it in Louisiana, or is it mandated?
They are trying, because we are pushing them every day. You can't mandate it. It's not legal to say you have to do this here.
Okay.
But we push really hard, and not just on the buying materials, but on the contractors, the subbers. Over half of the contracts that were let on the North Caddo side were to local subcontractors. Mm-hmm. People that have been here. You've got Hargrove Roofing. They got the roofing contract. You got Builder Supply. They got the concrete. You got Wicker Construction. They got the water and wastewater, which is a lot. Mm-hmm. You got several others. I mean, Linda Bernanke, Fire Tech. Mm-hmm. She got the fire suppression.
Right.
I mean, we've got people that have been here growing amongst us that are now being able to take advantage of some of these major projects.
Where are the workers staying? Are they in hotels? Are they renting apartments? Do we know? Is it kind of a mishmash of all?
Yeah. I mean, when we talked to them about it, we addressed the man camp issue early because I know they had that over on the other side of the state. We have infrastructure to handle it. We have plenty of hotels, plenty of motels, plenty of houses, and there's been some houses purchased through this. So we are being able to absorb it, and they feel like they'll be able to absorb it with our current infrastructure, which means more sales tax.
And what they saw in Monroe, to be honest, is in Monroe, many of the vendors came in and actually bought an old hotel. Yeah. Rather than pay rent, they just came in, bought the hotel, quickly renovated it. They are a construction company, and then they're planning to use those hotels to house their workers for years, and then they'll turn around and resell the hotel a couple of years. But we've not seen an overwhelming of the market yet. It has certainly improved the market. I told you we hit an all-time high for housing costs right now, and that they're seeing that in Monroe too. That ultimately, you bring more people in your community, it's going to start filling up hotels and homes.
How soon do we expect to see work start on the Greenwood Road facility, or have they already started?
So I would expect any day now.
Okay.
They don't sit around. They don't let the grass grow up under them, and so I would expect you'll see activity out there quickly, which means more jobs and more opportunity here.
That was a question of mine when we talked to previous mayors. When they do a big bond issue, the reason they don't start all the projects at once is because you don't have enough workers. You don't have the crews to come in. Are we going to have enough people to come in and start work on a third data center? Or are they going to be importing folks?
God help us if we have to have people come in here and spend tax dollars and spend their dollars into our area. Here's the thing. This is going to, and you mentioned, Scott, this is a 3 to 5 year construction period, maybe longer if we don't mess it up. We have our opportunity to have these people have a good time while they're here over 3 to 5 years and potentially relocate here after this is over. Now, if we fuss at them every day, if we cuss at them every day, and we don't provide a good environment, they might go back to where they are. But, yes, we fully expect that anybody that wants a construction job, it is out there, and we will have others coming in as well.
Can you stay with us? I want to talk about the fussing and the cussing when we get back.
Let's do it.
And maybe some other things. That's not the only thing you're working on, right, Justin?
Yeah,
absolutely. Always working on something.
He brought some secret information. Maybe we can get it out of him when we come back. 1017 FM, 710 KEEL.
Back with McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Back in studio, Justin Dixon, North Louisiana Economic Partnership. Scott Hughes in for Mike Martindale. Justin, they're meeting this week. One commissioner wants to put a moratorium on any new or any expansion of data centers. A lot of folks came out and spoke against them. The sky is falling. When's the sky going to fall?
You tell me and we'll both know. Not insensitive. Listen, it's shaking up people's lives, right? I get that. I'm sure that happened when the railroad came through. I'm sure it happened when I-20 came through. When you have development, that's what happens. We know what happens when you don't have development because that's basically what happened, from about 1970 until about 2020. I don't like that opportunity. I want our kids to have a chance to stay here in Northwest Louisiana and get jobs that pay close to $100,000.
Right.
I'll take that route. People whose lives are being disrupted. Stack has cameras on their entire facility. If something is going on nefarious, either from outside or inside, they will address it.
Have they addressed the starting up for 4 a.m.?
Absolutely. They're to see what happened, and I'm not going to sit here and say some overzealous, bulldozer driver got up and fired up a little bit early. They will handle that. They're very responsive. I'll tell you this, in Bossier, they have not had one complaint. Not one complaint. Talked to their officials yesterday. Not one complaint over there. And so I certainly understand there's going to be some, problems, but they're addressing it overwhelmingly with the tax dollars and the jobs coming in. It is great for the community.
The concerns about electric rates continue to brew. Are people misinformed?
Absolutely. Amazon, the guy that spoke yesterday, Keith, he said, we are going to pay everything for the upgrades. And I'm watching it. I'm seeing it happen. They are paying for all of it, which we are all going to benefit from, making our system much more resilient.
Is part of the problem Google? Because people are Googling, tell me about history, and they're learning we used to fly prop airplanes and now we have jet airplanes, and they're not understanding what's actually going to be built in Caddo and Bossier. Is that part of our issue?
Absolutely. If you want to find what you're looking for, you can. You know,
has there been one built like if someone does want to Google this, because I do think that's part of the issue. I think people are trying to research. They're going to do this, and they're finding things that are 10 or 15 years old. The analogy somebody gave me is, tell me about my iPhone and I'm looking at a Razor phone as the comparison.
Sure.
Flip phone. And so if someone did want to look at this company, this type of building that's being built now, what's, in your opinion, there may not be one, but what's the best analogy of where there is one?
So we flew up to Virginia. Okay. Obviously, everybody's heard about that. And we looked at them. They're in the middle of the richest neighborhood in the country.
And for the record, my daughter goes to UVA, so I've been through Manassas and these areas. That's why I'm asking where, because I've seen those.
You know, one of the reporters here locally went up there and asked the neighbors around it, you know, hey, what do you think about this? Half of them said, what are you talking about? The other half said, yeah, we never had any problems. Some of these problems, you know, the sounds and whatnot, they came from old generation data centers. There's no problem. Everything evolves.
And you will admit some of those had issues, that to be fair.
Absolutely. 30, 40 years ago, absolutely.
But these aren't those.
This is not those. This is like a college campus. I mean, that's a little bit problematic now during the construction phase. But when it's over, it is going to be beautiful. I mean, I've seen it. It's curb and gutter, lined streets, beautiful landscaping. It is really nice.
Okay, so let's shift gears.
Please.
What you got in your back pocket? What else?
Always something.
What's coming?
So, you know, I'll never give you specifics, but I can tell you we are working for companies right now totaling hundreds of millions of dollars and hundreds of jobs that are coming here because of the data center industry. Okay? Period.
See, that's what I saw in Manassas. It's what I'm seeing over in Richland Parish. When these as big as they are really just catalysts. Is that fair?
They were a catalyst a long time ago for us. So we have SLB that we put in the GM facility, which sat empty for 12 years.
2,000 jobs? Is that where
they
they're
will be
at?
at 2,000 by the end of the year.
And they promised how many?
They were promised 600 to begin with.
So it exceeds expectations.
And then they went to another 600.
Amazon
and now they're
did
at
that too, right? The facility?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Amazon.
Yes.
You know? So Amazon, they came in there.
Which is a robot plant now, right? There's no humans in there.
Not one.
Which was
There's
another
2,000.
And that was
2,000 humans.
Another huge building built in North Shreveport that some people complained about.
Never going to have anybody there. They committed to 1,000 jobs. They are over 2,500 now.
Whoa.
Their last mile facility, which is just south of here, I think we committed to 10 jobs. I don't know why we did that. I count 200 plus cars in there every single day. Amazon has a history of under-promising and over-delivering. I don't like that, but that's what they do.
And very quietly operating with 2,500 employees in North Shreveport.
Yes. They are going, when they get all of these 750 jobs on, which will come quickly, they will be one of the largest employers in all of Northwest
When
Louisiana.
you talk about the 4 companies that you're working with that would be in support of these data centers, describe to me what kinds of companies you need to have in a community that support data centers.
We've already got them. SLB's
That's
doing
what
they do.
Yep.
Fiberbond. They have 1,000 electricians that they hire over in Minden that all live amongst us here. You have Prolec GE, which puts power onto the grid. You have Sabre Industries. You have Module X. You have Gordon Inc. These companies are here and have been amongst us for years and years and years. They are all growing. They account for close to 5,000 jobs. If you've got a family member that worked at any of these jobs, you need to be happy that we're bringing more data centers here, because it's just going to be continued growth in the area.
For those people who say that they have some issues with a site, something that's going on in the site, and the folks have not been responsive, they're working to do better, aren't they not?
Absolutely. It's growing pains. It's growing. They want to be, much like you talked about Amazon, you know, they want to be good stewards when they came here with the fulfillment center up in North Market. We had some hiccups there. We had trucks coming in and going the wrong way. That's going to happen, but they want to be good because they're planning on being here forever.
And let me ask this, Stuart, because we had Commissioner Chris Crackman on. He as always speaks his mind, and I think he is fighting for his people up on State Line Road. If someone has a problem with the data center construction up on State Line, if they have one in the future on Greenwood Road or in Bossier, I'm a believer the best place to go is probably not the public body and open mic night. Who should somebody contact if they really have a legitimate concern? Because I think that's one of the other questions. These are big mammoth companies. I can't talk to them, so I go scream at my elected officials. Who should they contact?
Right. We have websites where they can go to. We'll provide those to you.
Okay.
They have people that they are hiring. They are in the current process of hiring community engagement individuals that will be in here that you'll be able to go to. And so all of the complaints are being heard. All of the complaints are being heard.
And you're still having forums, our last minute or so, for folks who want to do business with them. You're still going to have outreach programs for local companies that want to get involved. The door's not closed on all that, right?
The vast majority of the opportunities have not been let yet. That will come in months to come. I do know that you're starting to see more and more food trucks. If you're not permitted to deliver services in Caddo or Bossier, you better get permitted quick because that's a requirement. But they are starting to show up. They're starting to work with them, sequence them so they can come have opportunities.
Wow.
You knocked down Libby Glass.
We're working on it.
Yes.
You come back and tell us when you got something there?
Promise.
Okay. Justin Dixon, North Louisiana Economic Partnership. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it. 1017 FM, 710 KEEL.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
We are back. My buddy Scott Hughes is in studio. Thank you for being here.
Glad to be here.
It's going to be a great day. We have some really great guests coming up today. You've heard we have now confirmed the case of brain-eating amoeba in our community. A little girl who's, I believe, from Ruston, being treated in a local hospital. Dr. Joseph Bocchini from Willis-Knighton will join us coming up at about 7:40 this morning. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, two things. I need to send him another updated text. Dr. Jeff Sato from LSUS, political science professor, he's going to join us to talk about the Shreveport mayor's race, the Whitehorn endorsement, John Paul Young's latest, is he making any waves? But I also want to ask him about the Senate polling numbers, because those numbers are out, and a lot of people.
Jamie Davis, Julia Letlow. Now, I'm sure, like me, he's not going to give a ton of credit to early polling numbers.
Yeah.
But they are early polling numbers.
And they're surprising in that the vast majority of a heavy majority of those polled were Republican. But Jamie Davis is still doing way better than people expected.
This was a concern coming out of the Senate race, particularly with the three-way race. What would conservatives do? What would people be happy or not happy with Fleming? And now, granted, she's got a ton of money, and the race hasn't really begun. But this is a race. We'll let Jeff talk about it. But it's a race. The early polling is showing basically within the margin of error right now.
Right. When we come back, they had a public safety committee meeting yesterday. Shreveport City Council did. And they were shown a demonstration of these new docking drones that you can dock at different places around the city. And they did a test run of them in Shreveport. And anyway, we'll talk about it when we get back.
I think I saw some of those zipping around the sky. I didn't know what they were the other night. I thought it was the Life Air helicopter, but it was moving way too fast for Life Air helicopter.
Well, I've had some convos with some officers about this, and there's a little different take among the rank and file. So if you're a police officer, if you know a police officer, they might want to be listening next, because there's some controversy, and we're going to get to that when we come.
The public's mad at flock cameras. What are you going to do with drones?
Absolutely. Drones flying over your house at any hour, who knows? Anyway, that is all coming up right here on KEEL.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, we're back, and pretty cool demonstration yesterday before the Shreveport Public Safety Committee.
This is the new drones.
These new drones that come in these docking stations. You can see it at KEELnews.com. You can put them wherever you want around town. I think they're talking about maybe putting them at the 911 center. I think that's what I heard him say.
And these aren't like the ones you're flying on your property to take pictures or things. These are some big boys. They can stay up for a long time.
Big boys.
And I think I saw some in the air the other night, and they are incredibly fast and versatile.
They are. And they ran a 2-week test. They get to crime scenes 72% faster than patrol officers. So you can get them the what do they call them? The person who controls it, the pilot.
The pilot.
The drone pilot.
Because there's no roads. They're just taking they're like if you live in Shreveport, you're familiar with Life Air One.
Yep.
It comes over town, comes into LSU to drive, with emergencies. So the same thing. They could go where they need to go. However, when you say they get there, they're just putting eyes on the scene.
Right.
I think that's what you're going to talk about.
Right. Now, in one case, and this is where they say they do. They are better than a regular police officer in that in one case they showed the drone could see a suspect sneaking up on a car where the officer on the scene could not see that person. But the drone could alert the officer on the ground, hey, he's sneaking up behind this building. Here's where he's coming from.
Technology can assist an officer.
Yes.
Now, if the technology has a infrared in some way, then that's going to be even more powerful. I remember that's how they caught one of the Boston bombers years ago. You remember the drone detected him in a boat under a cover.
Sure did.
They never would have found that, or it would have been dangerous to go up to that boat and pull that cover. So
Big time.
They can help an officer, but they're not an officer.
They're not an officer. And that's what I've had some conversations recently with several police officers, one a high-ranking officer who I'm not going to name names because it was kind of it wasn't officially off-the-record conversation, but it was don't get me mixed up in this. And they said, but, we have to also remember when we're talking about these drones, this particular officer told me they can't put handcuffs on a suspect. They can't drive the suspect to jail. They can't break up a fight if people are fighting. We need bodies for that. And we're so short-staffed right now.
I'll go one more step because it'll come up at some point. A drone also can't testify in court.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Someone can present the video and testify in court, but the drone cannot show up in court and testify.
Right.
That'll become a legal standard down the line.
And I was thinking when I heard them talking about it, I thought, you know what, you could probably get drone pilots pretty cheap. Hire some drone pilots to come in. But then when you hear, no, they're not, that's not going to be good enough because they're not going to know what a police officer would know. How to approach the scene, what angles you should be from, what you should be honing in on, and that kind of. So I'm a changed person with regard to that. You do need a police officer, somebody that's post-certified to operate the drones. So do you take people off the street, off the patrol?
Or do you
assignment?
have or do they become like 911 communications officers? They're police officers, but they specialize in something else.
What they're going to do, it sounds like, and this is kind of brilliant, if they can make it happen, if you have enough people that'll do it, they're going to try to bring back retired officers. Retired officers who want to come in, be part of this program. I even heard the chief say he's going to bring some retired officers back to man the patrol desk. Where the patrol desk, you're answering calls, you're directing people different places.
People with lots of experience, but they won't be on and that makes a lot of sense. A person with a lot of experience that's not going to go out in the field. Maybe their field days are past them.
Yeah,
but they know the systems.
They know the systems, and to fly the drones. I don't know. I'm sure they probably said it.
I think that needs to be 12-year-olds, though. This is technology. To be honest, I don't see you or me coming back out of retirement to fly a drone.
That would be a concern.
These kids are amazing with technology.
Now, I think they'll train. They'll put them through training and teach them how to do it. But you're still going to have folks that are on the force and they're probably screaming at the radio now, going, but they're not cops. They can't replace us. They're just not going to be able to do all of it.
I split the baby there. I think I want young tech people running these things, and then maybe I have a supervisor that's standing right there next to them, telling them what to do.
Okay.
Because to me, it's actually two different skill sets. The person flying needs to be focused on flying. They need to be paying attention to the instruments and flying. Someone else needs to be making the management call of fly over here, go down there, look right. They also brought up response times, and I question this too, because if I call and I need help at my house, and a police officer is going to get there in 10, 12 minutes, but a drone can get there in 6. Is that going to satisfy the general public? Oh, you got to my house in 6 minutes. For me, a drone is not a police officer. That's not who I want at my place. It depends the situation.
Okay.
Okay. It depends the situation. If a drone, I mean, I'll say this, and we're just making this up. If a drone shows up and it can throw a spotlight down in the yard,
and get
if a
rid
drone
of a prowler,
has video, a drone can give some sense of security.
Okay.
But a drone can also be shot out of the air. A drone can also,
Yeah.
I mean, I think at a certain point, criminals know a drone cannot arrest them and cuff them, as you said.
Yes.
But I think it can give response in certain times. We hear crowds forming at whatever corner. Well, a drone can show up and at least the crowd knows someone's videoing us. It could disperse the crowd.
Yeah. That could work in that instance. You're right. Well, we're going to talk more about that throughout the morning. We're going to talk more about the brain-eating amoeba that has been confirmed in our community. That is all on the way right here on KEEL.
Back to the big stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, we are back, and I need to ask you some things because I know Ruben's answer is yes to this, I think. Have you guys...
My answer is yes.
I think yours might be no.
I'm Team Ruben.
Are you?
We'll see.
Have you ever had an outdoor job where every day you reported you worked on a roof or in a ditch or on a street, construction worker somewhere? Have you ever done that?
Yes, I've had outdoor manual labor jobs.
Really?
Yes.
How long ago?
When I was in college.
Okay.
We were actually just talking about this. When I was in college, I was actually a fairly elite long distance runner. Would run cross country, run 3 miles. So I'd run every day. But when I was in college, one of my jobs was there used to be an old driving range, putt driving range by Shreveport City.
Okay.
And I worked there for several summers, and my job was to mow everything. I'd drive the tractor. I'd pick the golf balls up from the driving range. And I would do it in days like today. I'd be out there in 100-degree days driving a tractor, mowing. You have to go out in the deep woods and hit the balls back onto the course.
Oh.
That was hot. You went home with a layer of dirt on your entire body.
God. And it sucked to you. Ruben, you've had a few, huh?
Oh yeah, I've had a few get out of my clothes in the garage jobs.
Wow.
Like I can't come in the house because I'm so covered in filth.
Because now there's an alert out for construction workers, outdoor workers, that they're urging companies to give them mandatory hydration breaks and to try to do the work in the early morning hours and get them done before noon or 1 o'clock when the heat. How come that wasn't a huge problem 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago? Why is it all of a sudden? I mean, has it changed so dramatically?
Well,
did we adapt?
Well, I think two things. I think years ago in general, I mean, just go look at old pictures. I think if you go back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, Americans generally used to be in better health. I think that over the years, and this is one area someone like RFK may have some legitimate argument. I think over the years, Americans have gotten more unhealthy.
Yes.
For whatever reason. I think the world has. But also I think number two is back in those days, I don't think you had to do it because corporate America would take care of you. I think today, I'll be honest, I saw something last night where Congress is passing rules to remove the requirements that employers give you that time.
Right.
And so the fact we're even having to legislate it or going to pass a rule that says you don't have to give someone that time, I think it's the humane thing to do.
But I don't even remember hydrating. I mean, water drinking in my childhood, it wasn't a thing. Water drinking was not a thing.
It was the only thing, though. You had water fountains. You drank more water than you realized.
I drank Kool-Aid and tea and that kind of thing. But now water is a big thing. I mean, I carry water with me. How has that all of a sudden? That's a whole different thing.
You know, it's funny you bring that up. I was going through those home movies that I found, and one of them was from Paris. It's from 1994. Not one human being had a bottle of water in their hand.
Wow.
Not one.
Wow. Because now water is the thing. I mean, everybody will tell you, drink water, drink plenty of water. You got to drink 8 glasses a day. I probably drank 8 glasses of Kool-Aid a day or tea.
You drank liquid. I remember in high school football practice, we just go over and grab the hose. We'd just drink out of the hose. I remember playing in the neighborhood in Omaha and Albuquerque. We'd just drink out of the hose or there'd be a water fountain. Every time we passed it, we'd just go over and get a drink.
Yeah. It just seems like it's so different. So they're really putting out a caution now for anybody that works outdoors. I think the worst for me would be on a roof.
Oh, it's bad.
I think a roof would be, for me, that would be the word for heat.
What always impresses me when I see the workers outside is they're counterintuitive to what I would think. They're always wearing the long sleeve. They're always wearing, they got to be so hot. They're wearing jackets.
Yes.
But they're in such good shape. The heat exhaustion is a serious thing.
Absolutely.
But you need to know what you're doing.
You bet. Next hour, we'll be talking more about politics in the area, the brain-eating amoeba. We will have Dr. Joseph Bocchini joining us in about 45 minutes from right now, right here on 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. We are back. Scott Hughes in for Mike Martindale, who is off today. Got an email from the Second Circuit Court of Appeals yesterday, which they send out on Wednesdays, typically every Wednesday, the rulings of the week. And
any member of the public can sign up for those.
Yeah, sign up.
I'm signed up at the Supreme Court.
They'll send the email out to you and of all their rulings for the week, and you can peruse it, and it's for the entire region. So some are like Ouachita, and you can hone in on, if you want to look at Bossier or Caddo cases, you can do that. And most of the time, it's inmates filing suit against the state, or it's custody disputes that have been appealed to the Second Circuit.
But your mailbox dinged yesterday, didn't it?
It did. It dinged, and I open this stuff, and I go look at it, and the first one I opened was read the two plaintiffs, the two litigants at the top.
There was a decision by the Court of Appeals, Second Circuit, in the matter of John Paul Moore Young, plaintiff, known as John Paul Young, against the city of Shreveport and Mayor Tom Arsenault, defendants.
Okay. What was this lawsuit about? Let's start there.
Well, lawsuits they're not given titles, but fundamentally, Mr. Young, a couple of years ago, had filed a suit in February of 25 against the city, basically stating his opinion of the interpretation of revised statute RS 1463, trespassing.
Okay.
This deals with, he believes that he should be able to call the police. I'm summing this up, and I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
But I've read it. He believes he should be able to call the police, and if he can claim someone had trespassed, even have video of the person on his property, the police should go arrest them. Okay. Especially if there's facts, especially if the police acknowledged, yes, that person's a known trespasser, in this case, in the Highland area.
Right.
The city, through the mayor, and I think Chief Smith has gotten involved over the years as well with statements, the city have said, not so fast. There's statutes, and our interpretation of them is that you must have posted signs, you must have asked the person to leave, those kinds of things. An officer just can't show up and arrest somebody.
What if that person had permission to be there by the owner? We don't know that.
We don't know that. What
Right.
if they're, and where a lot of this goes back to is tenants. It goes back to the eviction notice.
Right.
Maybe the person, and we work in that real estate business, it's a problem. Squatters, someone that's just not leaving the property. And my people have to go through some days 90, 100-day eviction processes to get rid of somebody not paying rent.
Right.
And so rooted in all that was this lawsuit. John Paul Young files the lawsuit. The city says, oh, no, we're following the law. That was their basic defense. It gets technical.
And it went to district court, and the city won.
And district court, city wins.
Okay.
The city says that the judge says the city's position is correct. This is the interpretation of the law.
Okay.
And apparently Mr. John Paul Young did not like that. He filed an appeal with the Second Circuit.
Now, is John Paul Young a lawyer? Because I noticed he filed improper person, so he represented himself. He is a lawyer, correct?
Well, my understanding is he went to law school, and so I want to be careful because he went to law school. To be considered a lawyer, you generally have passed the bar, and or are admitted to practice.
Now, has he passed the bar in another state? Perhaps
I do not know. That's where I do not want to make a comment on that.
Okay,
I do know he has legal training. He went to school.
Okay,
and it is noted, for the record, he filed this in his capacity as a citizen, not as a Caddo Parish Commissioner.
Okay,
that's clear in the lawsuit.
Right. Now what did the Second Circuit essentially say in their ruling?
The Second Circuit, essentially in their ruling, in layman's terms, slapped him and said, you're wrong. we uphold and we award. They said really three things. We said we uphold the lower court opinion, meaning they threw the case out.
Okay.
Number two, they threw it out with prejudice.
What does that mean?
That means you can't refile it.
Oh.
That means that not only are you wrong, it's not, you can't refile it.
Don't
It wasn't
come back.
technical, don't come back.
Right.
You were wrong on the merits of the case, and we doubly award. I mean, and then number three, they awarded cost. He's got to pay the city's cost, as I appreciate this. I don't know how, it says he pays certain costs. I'm not sure if that's everything, but it's probably at minimum the court cost.
What I didn't understand was it was about standing, whether he even had standing to file the suit. Why doesn't he have standing? If he's a resident of Shreveport, he owns property, he has a problem with trespassers. Why does he not have standing to sue the city? I'm not sure I was clear on that, and you may not have read into the minutia of it yet to understand that.
The key paragraph is here, for the following reasons. After the court went into this, it's about an 11-page opinion.
Sure.
It says, for the following reasons, we, meaning the appeals court, affirm the trial court's sustaining of Mayor Arsenault's and the city's exceptions of no right of action,
Okay.
lack of standing, and no cause of action. And its judgment dismissing Young's case with prejudice.
Okay.
So that's the big statement. I think if I understand the legal argument correctly, what they kind of said was you didn't have really specific facts to an instant matter, although I think Mr. Young would clearly dispute that. He thinks he did. But where they really got in theory is you as an individual citizen can effectively file and make the city change a law that would affect all citizens. You don't have standing to file on behalf of all citizens. The Attorney General might, for example.
Here's where I have a huge problem with this, is because if you look at the top of that suit, the city hired, Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, whoever, private law firm. That's going to cost money. It's going to cost money. How much money do you think John Paul Young is on the hook for now? I mean, the city hired a private law firm, it looks like.
I don't know. And again, I am not a lawyer. At the end, I just kind of read the big case. At the end, it repeats that statement with the following line. All costs of this proceeding are assessed to Young. Okay? Now, as a layperson, I think that means more with like the court filings, the fees to actually file the case with the Second Circuit.
So not the legal fees?
I don't necessarily believe that Young has to pay the city's expenses.
Oh my gosh.
They're probably on the hook for that. Now, many times you countersue. Many times in a case, if you're the defendant, you countersue under a slap rule, that kind of thing.
Right.
I don't think the city did that, and I'm not even sure this is a slap. I think there was a serious issue of law. I think Mr. Young was questioning a serious issue of law.
Does he have a right to appeal this to the state Supreme Court?
Well, again, not the lawyer, as I say a lot.
Right.
But my understanding is in these matters, he would have two options. Number one, I think you can ask for a rehearing. Sometimes that may be called en banc. I'm out of my league here, but I've seen
for
both.
The full court.
I've seen both done. I've seen it ask for a rehearing. And I've seen people ask for what's called an en banc opinion, meaning instead of just this was three. The first time was one judge.
Right.
And this is three judges.
And this was a 3-0 ruling, correct?
This is a 3-0 ruling by the best I can tell. There was no outlier opinions. And so this is three judges. I think you can ask for an en banc. It's rare, and get all 12 judges that are on the, to review it. Or you can ask for writs, which means you think that two levels of court have made a mistake, and you want to go to the Supreme Court. And that's called asking for writs. You apply to the Supreme Court, and they're not required to hear your case.
Right, and with the 3-0 ruling, they're not likely to take up a case like this.
If you applied this to the Supreme Court, unless there's a huge technical error, and I don't believe these three judges made a technical error in this case, you're not going to get writs with the Supreme Court on this.
Okay, interesting. I heard something this morning that really, really bothered me, and it was by some doofus on ESPN or something. I want to ask you about it when we come back. It has to do with LSU.
ESPN got doofuses?
They got doofuses. They have at least one doofy. Is a single doofy.
I did see where the founder of ESPN died this week. Just on a little trivia.
Huh.
He was 87 or something, and he passed away, the original founder of ESPN.
Interesting. Well, this doofy.
And it's not Chris Berman. This is the actual guy that built the network.
Sorry. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Back Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, I don't know the Dufie's name, but I was watching an analysis of college football and the preseason predictions, and there was a Dufie on.
You're really stressing about these preseason things.
Yeah, and of course
What
LSU.
car of the lane train are you on? Are you driving? Are you the locomotive?
Well, I think we lose 2 games. I've told you that.
You
I think
said that. You think Texas and Alabama.
Yeah, I think those two back-to-back losses are going to be, a little bit of a hurt for us. But I think it's a good thing in that it will keep us out of the SEC championship game where we might lose to Georgia. So that's fine. I'm fine with that. We still make the playoff.
You're the only LSU fan I know that says not making the SEC championship game is a good thing.
I think not making your conference championship game will be a good thing forever for most teams. You don't want to play in that game because a loss could bump you out of the playoffs in a game that is meaningless now.
So you never want the 19 season again, undefeated?
No. Well, yes. Hush up down there. This Dufie, not only does he say we don't make the playoffs, he says Ole Miss trounces us, Alabama trounces us, Texas double trounces us, and we don't even finish in the top 25.
Was it Feinbaum? Who was saying that?
It was a Dufie. I've never heard of him before. Hines, the CBS guy, Neuheisel, he also says he doesn't think LSU makes the playoffs.
Rick
Neuheisel. He's another one that is not an LSU fan right now.
Well, the truth is, we don't know.
I know.
We don't know. We have a new coach. Mm-hmm. We have NIL money across the country to bring in players. We don't know.
We did tops in the portal, though. That's what everybody says. LSU was the number 1 team for the portal.
Yeah, tops in the portal and $10 bill get you coffee at Starbucks. They'll put NIL champion on your cup if you want them to, but I don't think it gets you to the other championship.
Okay. One other LSU thing I haven't heard you talk about yet, and I know you have an opinion. I'm just going to say Jaden Daniels and let you go.
You want my top 5 things that I have wrong?
Let's talk cease and desist.
Well, if people are not aware, I'll say this. Somehow a cease and desist letter gets sent to LSU. Mm-hmm. My understanding of it, oddly, is the letter actually came from the Washington Commanders legal department.
Really?
Which is really weird because Jaden Daniels is probably worth $200 million. Oh,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure the kid has his own. I say the kid because that's like his moniker. Mm-hmm. Not demeaning. I'm pretty sure that kid, Jaden, has his own legal department.
Sure.
And yet I think the letter comes from the Washington Commanders legal department.
Wow.
In the middle of preseason. There's a lot of spin that his mother's behind a lot of this. I heard the other night that his father got served a cease and desist as well. I don't know that maybe they're not on good terms. Mm-hmm. And so I finally backed up. I've watched a lot of this, and this is where I get. I get that whatever has happened, it's sad.
Yes.
Because Jaden Daniels was a great story, even in a bad year. LSU did everything they could do to help Jaden Daniels.
Should his jersey number be retired?
LSU's only retired 1 jersey number in history.
Okay.
Now, I did a little research into that, and I'm not an LSU alumni, so I may have this wrong.
And that is who?
They've only retired 1 jersey, number 20, Billy Cannon. And Billy Cannon, just if you're keeping score, won the Heisman and the national championship.
Right.
Okay.
And so we haven't used Joe Burrow's number yet.
So that's retired.
Right.
Now, at LSU, there is a Ring of Honor. They have taken several jerseys and put them in the Ring of Honor.
Okay.
It doesn't mean they're retired. It means we recognize the player that wore that jersey.
Okay.
They went on to do many special things. But the jersey's not retired. It's still worn.
So Joe Burrow's number is not retired, but we haven't given it out yet.
It's in neither of those categories. Joe Burrow's number 9.
Right.
Now the number 5. And I think, and I've been told that there's an unwritten rule in the LSU sports department that nobody even gets considered for a Ring of Honor or retirement until so many years after you played.
Gotcha.
That really is best in everything. You shouldn't be naming jerseys or buildings or anything after people that are basically still active and alive. You never know what's going to happen. And why do we have that rule? Billy Cannon. Because you did Billy Cannon, and he sold the Heisman, and everybody's All-American. He ends up in jail. I think people know the story of Billy Cannon. So they passed a rule that we're going to really wait a couple years before we start honoring people. So not even Burrow's jersey is in that realm yet. I think the issue is no one has not yet worn number 9 at LSU, and no one had worn number 5 until this season. But as I appreciate it, there's an All-American that we Neil moneyed in, transferred in, whatever you want to say. Because Neil money is also for freshmen. It's just a contract these days.
Sure.
And one of his contractual requests was, I want to wear number 5. I've worn it my entire career.
Oh, boy.
It's my number 5. And LSU, not having the number retired or even in the Ring of Honor, gave it him number 5. And that's what Jaden got upset at. And then I guess my last comment is, how do you somehow going from being a hero of the greatest fan base in this country to being an internet meme?
Yeah.
It's sad.
It is. It really is.
I hope
sad.
they work it out because he's still, in my opinion, Jaden Daniels was a video game champion for LSU.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope that the LSU fan base does not forget him.
Absolutely. We cannot. I agree with you 100%. Coming up in about 10 minutes, Dr. Joseph Bocchini, brain-eating amoeba, what is it? What to watch for, things we need to know in our community after we got a message from the health department that there is a confirmed case locally. We'll have that coming up in about 10 right here on KEEL.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, real quick, because we have Dr. Joseph Bocchini coming up next. Real quick from France, I saw this story this morning and it kind of disturbs me a little bit, but I'm not a huge champagne drinker. But the
champagne being the sparkling wine from a very specific region in France.
Yes.
I think most people know that. When you say champagne,
Yep.
It's from a specific region in France. Everything else just is a sparkling wine.
They are now harvesting the grape crop as fast as they can because the heat wave has decimated it.
Europe is under, we're not the only ones with 114.
Oh, yeah.
Europe, and they're not 114, but Europe has a tremendous problem in fires. They're really out of control in Europe.
Yes.
Spain is having a lot of problems.
Yep. So they are getting the grapes as fast as they can to try to save the champagne season for this year. But we all know that means it's going to drive the prices up. That's just what's going to happen.
So you mean that I need to head to Thrifty and Whole Wine and Cuban or wherever I purchase my fine drinking products?
Grab some champagne if you want it for the new year. I'm just saying, you might think about it. I don't know. But it was worrisome that the prices could be going up. We're going to talk a real serious story now. Brain-eating amoeba.
We have the facts today. Yesterday we knew a little and we were trying to be careful.
Dr. Joseph Bocchini from Willis-Knighton is going to join us next. Obviously, he can't talk about specific cases, but he's going to tell us about brain-eating amoeba, what it is, what to watch for, those kinds of things. More details on that is coming up next, right here on KEEL.
Breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Back and on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline, Dr. Joseph Bocchini with Willis-Knighton Medical Center, infectious disease specialist in the pediatric wing. You do it all pretty much, correct?
I do pediatrics. That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
We are talking about a confirmed case now by the state health department of brain-eating amoeba in our community. I know we cannot talk about specific patients, but when we say brain-eating amoeba, we get scared. First off, tell us what this is and how you get this kind of bacterial, I guess a bacterial infection. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's an amoeba, and this is a free-living single-cell organism that really lives in fresh water, lives in soil, and it tends to grow more rapidly when the water heats up. So this time of the year, when water temperatures of lakes and streams and other freshwater ponds reach into the 80s, this amoeba can really proliferate. The only way it causes serious infection is by having it get into your nose. It enters through your nose into the nerves that come and support your nose, grows back into the brain, and that's why it's called a brain-eating infection, because once it's in the brain, it causes a severe, rapidly evolving infection, which is often fatal. So this is a very rare disease. There are only a few cases reported in the United States each year, but it is frequently a fatal disease. So the press release from the Public Health really was aimed to make people aware that we do have a case in Louisiana, possibly occurring after water exposure in Lake Claiborne, and just to make people aware and to take precautions to try and reduce the risk of acquiring this infection.
Now, if you get this infection, can it cause things like meningitis or other things that impact the brain?
Yes, in fact, the illness that it causes is called an amoebic meningoencephalitis. So it's a meningitis plus damage to the brain, which is what makes it encephalitis. So yes, that's exactly what it causes.
Symptoms? Can you kind of go over that?
Sure. What generally happens is, on average, about 5 days after water exposure, the patient may develop fever, some headache, but then over the next few days, that headache worsens significantly. Vomiting can occur, and then neurologic findings happen, so that they may become confused, possibly have seizures, other neurologic changes that would indicate that there is a potential infection involving the brain or the tissues around the brain.
How long does it take to manifest from the time I swim in the lake to the time I start getting sick? How long is it baking, I guess, in your brain?
So on average, it takes up to about 5 days before symptoms develop. Sometimes it's a little faster than that. Sometimes it takes a little over a week and a half for symptoms to develop. But on average, it's going to start within 5 days or at approximately 5 days after exposure.
Let me ask you something. Someone asked me yesterday about this, and they said if I use like a neti pot or something like that for sinuses or for breathing treatments or whatever at home, should I be using distilled water in cases for those kinds of things? This is kind of off the topic a little bit, but there has been some people that have said, I don't know that I would use tap water for those things. Is that an issue at all?
Yeah, no, Aaron, that is on topic because the way we control this amoeba is by chlorinating our water. And as long as the water is chlorinated effectively, that will kill this organism and it's not a problem. However, during the summer, there can be times when chlorination might fail because of problems within the system or problems near the house. So if you use an neti pot, if your doctor has prescribed nasal rinses or sinus rinses, it is really important to use sterile water or distilled water. If you're going to use water from the tap, you should boil it for at least 1 minute to kill these organisms just in case they might be there. So it would be uncommon, but that's a safety measure that anyone who uses a neti pot or a nasal rinse should take to reduce the risk of infection with this organism.
But you're not saying, when you say that, you're not saying there's any problem or issue with our drinking water, with our water in our communities across the region.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. There have been rare cases where that has happened, but there is no concern about the water system that we have in our area at all.
Now, should people be concerned? We've honed in on Lake Claiborne in this particular case. Should we also be concerned about other lakes because they're all in the same temperature? They're facing the same weather conditions as Lake Claiborne. Could this be an issue in other lakes, and should we be cautious about swimming in all of our lakes right now?
Yes, we should be. You're absolutely right. The water temperature is going to be elevated because of the heat that we've had, and so any fresh water, lake, pond, stream, could have this organism within it. So yes, the same precautions need to be taken if you are going to swim or have any water activities in any of these lakes or areas.
I know you can't talk about specific cases, but can you talk? This is apparently a child from the region. What is the treatment protocol if someone does have brain-eating amoeba. What is done medically for the patient?
Well, the current treatment is a combination of a number of medications that have the ability to reduce the proliferation of the organism and hopefully to kill it. And so multiple medications are really the current recommendation. The Centers for Disease Control has a program for this type of infection and is very helpful in providing information, diagnostic testing, but very importantly provides access to medications that can potentially be helpful in managing the infection. So working closely with the CDC really helps provide therapy as quickly as possible. In addition, the other thing that's really important is that this infection causes a fair amount of swelling in the brain. And so there is a significant effort to reduce the amount of brain swelling because that's a very serious consequence of this infection.
Dr. Joseph Bocchini, Willis Knighton, thank you so much for your time and sharing the information. We certainly appreciate it. A lot of folks in our community need to know about it. Thank you, sir.
So, Aaron, could I mention one thing?
Please do.
I think the public health information was really designed to help people reduce the risk. So one of the things, since this is an organism that does not cause intestinal infection, it doesn't cause skin infections, the only thing it does is cause this brain infection. So to try and reduce the risk of the brain infection, if you go swimming, you could always use nasal clips to prevent water from getting in the nose.
Okay.
You should be careful not to dive or underwater without trying to protect your nose. So that's certainly one of the things that you could do to reduce the risk of acquiring this infection.
Got you. Thank you, Dr. Joseph Bocchini. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Aaron.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Back with more McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
A lot of discussion yesterday about drones being used for policing. The Public Safety Committee met and they talked about implementing these big drones. We're going to get back to that in just a second, but the story in the news that just blows me away, because there's a lot of people that are against these flock cameras. A lot of people think, bring them on. If it helps us solve crimes, it helps catch criminals, I'm for them.
And flock cameras, for those that don't know or know the term, they're really license plate readers, as I appreciate it.
Yes.
They're really just scanning license plates or those barcodes on cars, and they're just on scale recording what car goes through the intersection.
Which is why...
And in theory, it still should require a subpoena to use the information.
Yes.
The camera is just accumulating the information. Mm-hmm. A police officer still should have a subpoena to use the information.
Right. I'm told they have to present a case number, some sort of case number to access the flock video.
That's effectively the subpoena.
Right,
what is
exactly.
the legal police reason that you are getting the data?
So...
You think someone didn't do that?
It's happening across the country. There are many cases now that are starting to come up. This one is a Louisiana case. Have you heard about it yet?
Hackers are going in and private citizens are getting this data.
No.
Iranian spies are getting this data.
It's not the Chinese either.
So who's misusing the data?
A Jefferson Parish sheriff's deputy.
Oh, the police.
Yeah.
Police powers. Has
been fired. Apparently he was assigned to monitor the flock camera feeds or whatever.
He was trying to catch criminals on his own?
Well...
That should be rewarded.
That's not what he did.
Okay, what did he do?
He admitted to using the flock camera system to search for his ex-fiance's car.
She was lost one night?
3,000 plus times.
3,000?
He searched for her car.
Like every day for 10 years. That's 365 days.
He is hunting for her car almost 24/7 on these flock cameras, seeing where she is. A, she's your ex. I know why. 3,000 times.
I'm surprised he wasn't charged with, beyond all the other stalking. Is there?
Yes.
Goodness.
Why did it take 3,000 times for you to fire him is what I want to know.
Now, that would be the question for me, because as we were, obviously I knew where you were headed. And so that's why I was saying to use the data. It's police data. It's just like phone records or everything else. To use it requires effectively a subpoena, a court order, a case, a legitimate police need is what's required.
Yeah.
And so in this case, not only did he not have that, but I guess your question is, how is it allowed to happen on that scale?
Yeah. It's amazing. It really is amazing. Politics with Dr. Jeff Sato is coming up after 8 o'clock right here on KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty. Mike is out. My friend Scott Hughes is here. And on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline, we're thrilled to have this morning Dr. Jeffrey Sato, political science professor at LSU Shreveport. Let's start with the Shreveport mayor's race. There have been a few developments of late on the Democratic side that I wanted to ask you about. The latest being Sheriff Henry Whitehorn endorsing Stormy Gage Watts. How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how big a surprise was that to you?
A bit of a surprise. I think really Tammy Phelps has been the candidate that's been doing the best in terms of corralling endorsements, money, et cetera. So, yeah, it does surprise me a little bit. I'm not sure that it helps her low chances all that much, but, anything helps.
So if her chances are so low, why would the sheriff even get involved?
No, I don't know. That's something that I wondered about. There may be alliances or past dealings that compel them in that direction. So, but I'm not really sure, to tell you the truth.
And the other side of this coin is that Tammy Phelps is endorsed by Sam Jenkins. For me, that was not a big surprise. Same for you?
Yeah, no, not at all. The thinking kind of was that Jenkins was the top Democrat candidate going into that, and when he deferred, that Phelps is probably next in line. So, yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me. They work together in the legislature, no surprise at all.
Dr. Sato, good morning. Many of us see those two as kind of half the race, maybe a mini primary. Then you got the other side of the race. What are you seeing these days with John Paul Young and the incumbent mayor, Tom Arsenault? Mr. Young seems to be the most aggressive campaigner right now.
Yeah, and I think the consensus is he's behind, so you do have to be a little more aggressive in that situation. I don't know that earlier this week was all that good for Young. It turns out he's stumping for a data center moratorium of sorts while he's on the commission. And then, of course, the very next day we get the confirmation that, yes, there is going to be yet another data center coming to Shreveport, which, of course, the mayor has enthusiastically backed. So, I don't know. I think the things so far this week's they've gone a little better for Arsenault than Young.
Your phone's echoing a little. I don't know if you're on a speaker or not, but it's something's coming. It's like almost like you're in a tunnel. Sorry,
and we can't hear you. It's just a little difficult. As to that issue, Dr. Sato, the data center issue, how do you see that impacting this race? On the one hand, I see a lot of passion, albeit maybe a small crowd, we don't know. Is there a silent majority on data centers? Does Tom get larger credit for the development, or is this going to be a negative because he's supporting something some people seem to be against? Do we have a read on that yet?
Well, I think if there's a silent majority, so to speak, with in terms of people opposing them, I think you find that more in the parish and the rural areas, in the urban areas of Shreveport, obviously. I don't think that's that big of an issue. So I don't know that. I think in terms of the electorate, they're more likely on the right side of this issue as far as voting goes if you're for data center expansion and efforts to try to police them, rein them in, things like that.
And so that's our mayor's race right now. I think if I'm understanding you correctly, do you perhaps, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Dr. Sato, which two do you see coming out of this field based on what we just said?
I'm still seeing Arsenault and Phelps. I don't know that. I think really the only other two serious candidates are Young and Gage Watts. And yeah, I don't see them at this point coming up and into a second place position. So yeah, I think it's still Arsenault.
In the Arsenault-Phelps runoff, which would be in December, how close is that? Is that close? Does Arsenault run away with it? What do you think?
Well, if it goes to the December runoff, you have a different electorate that turns out, and one historically we've seen in Shreveport that tends to favor black Democrat candidates. Now, of course, Arsenault, at least what we know, we don't have any recent financial reports. I mean, he had $500,000. Phelps had just a pittance. We don't know what those totals are now. Clearly has the resources to try to drive home a re-election effort. But the math for him is going to get a little tricky if it goes to a runoff.
Dr. Sato, do you see any chance? It's actually a 7-person field. There are 3 other candidates we haven't talked about, and you and I might agree they get less than 5% total amongst themselves. Any chance this is won by somebody outright, mainly Arsenault the first time?
No, I can't see that. There's just the math I don't think is going to work for him. Again, we're looking at a city that's a majority Democrat city, and the circumstances of the election 4 years ago were, of course, very different with a very polarizing opponent. I don't see that this time, so I don't know that he's done enough in the last 4 years to capture, at least for the next 4 years, those voters that put him over the top back in 2022.
The Democratic turnout in our community has been, I think you would admit, I think the Democrats would even admit, it's been kind of lackluster. There's been no passion to get people to the polls. Do you see anything developing, any passion among these 2 Democratic ladies that would drive people to the polls that could help push them possibly into the mayoral seat?
No, not in not the general election. Historically, again, we've tended to see where you get, for example, 2006, Jerry Jones. I think about 45, 46% of the vote after the general election, but in the runoff and managed to beat him. So I just, and the dynamics and the numbers have changed a little bit since then, but I just don't see, again, that kind of outcome. I think it's almost assuredly going to go to a runoff.
Mm-hmm. I think Dr. Sato, Aaron wants to hold you over here at the break, and we want to talk about the U.S. Senate race and when we come back. Sure. But to follow up on this, there are other things on this ballot, particularly the DA's race. How do you see the DA's race helping or hurting the mayor's race, knowing that that's a parish-wide vote? Obviously, the mayor's race is a city vote. But do you think the DA's race is going to have any impact on the mayor's race?
Yeah, I will. I think it's going to help Arsenault, Republican candidates in general, because Alan Seabaugh, state senator, a Republican, he's a fantasy campaigner. If there's any guy that can get a bunch.
Oh, you're breaking up.
So, they'll bleed over and vote for Arsenault or some other Republican.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Senate race, the latest poll numbers, which are surprising some folks. Can we do that in just a sec?
Yeah.
You bet. We'll be back right here on KEEL.
What if your bed felt like a luxury beachside resort every single night? That's Care Aloha. Care Aloha bamboo sheets and bedding are designed for incredible softness. In fact, Oprah Daily says Care Aloha sheets are like slumbering at a luxe beachside resort. And Good Morning America calls them softer and cooler than cotton. If better sleep is calling your name, start with Care Aloha bamboo sheets. Sleep cooler, softer, and better with Care Aloha. Go now to carealoha.com. That's CARILOHA.com and try Care Aloha bamboo sheets with free shipping over $100 and a 100-night trial.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
back on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline. Dr. Jeffrey Sato, LSUS political science professor. The polling numbers in the Senate race, it's the public policy polling showing Julia Letlow leading Jamie Davis by 4 points, 41 to 37, 22% undecided. Democrats are dancing a jig, saying that they actually have a chance. Are they mistaken?
Yeah, I would. That'd be my bet. PPP is a Democratic firm. They typically are on the high side in terms of their projections of Democrat candidates in their predicted forecast vote. And, of course, you also have to look at that undecided. At this point, they probably would break largely for Letlow in any event. So, I'm this is kind of fool's gold. I think if you're a Democrat, you need to look at the reality of the situation. Letlow has 10 times the money that Davis has, if anything, what this kind of result's going to do is it's going to suck in maybe some Democrat donations that could have gone elsewhere. So I don't know really even if national Democrats are that happy to see this, because they may consider that ends up diverting some money from people that might otherwise be given to other Democrats running in more competitive races in other states.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Dr. Sato. I do see, I'm curious on the national level, I do see the, quote, Democratic map expanding. I see them maybe being competitive in Texas. Kansas looks interesting. Even Alaska now. I don't see Louisiana in play. I think this number is an early outlier. What do you see in general in the overall fight for the Senate? Do you see a chance the Democrats get to 51? That's where they have to get to make a difference. Or do you think that we're going to see sort of a Republican resurgence in the next 75 days?
No, I think there are going to be Democrat gains. If you just went by the strict polling numbers right now, or average of polls, let's say, Republicans would still, I think they'd be down one is what would happen. Now, of course, a lot of these margins are pretty thin on both sides, and so as seems to be the recurring theme every 4 years in election years, it's going to come down to the wire. It could go either way. But right now, if we had to do it right now, this day, I think the Republicans would hold on to control of the Senate.
Yeah, it's going to be very close, I think. I don't think that I don't want to guess for you, but I'm pretty sure you don't think Mike Johnson, our congressman, is going to have any real challenge. Maybe the numbers slide a little bit with some blue wave. Do you see, and I know we're going to get a new congressman to replace Letlow. That race is on. And then we have the replacement for Cleo Fields. Those will be new members. Do you see any of our other existing congressmen having a problem? I'm hearing some rumors out of Acadiana that things aren't going so well for Higgins right now. Are you seeing anything down there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we've heard this story before where he was supposed to get waxed by Scott Angel, and this is the first time he ran, and potentially others, and he won going away. So, I don't know how much credence to put into that, but I would say that of the incumbents coming back, both parties, that pretty much everybody's pretty much a lock. Never say never, but I'd say pretty much everybody's a lock at this point.
Julia Letlow, Jamie Davis, no chance there's going to be a debate, correct?
Yeah, I probably pretty much bet your house on that. When someone has a commanding advantage in terms of resources, such as Letlow has, that's the last thing you want to do is go debate a badly underfinanced candidate. Again, listeners are probably familiar with the reason why. The more you talk, the more likely you can make a mistake, a really dumb-looking mistake. So, don't set yourself up for it. Don't take that chance. And so, she can get all the invitations they distribute all the invitations they want to her, but she's not going to accept any.
In that race, Dr. Sato, I'm assuming do conservatives come home? I know we heard a lot of upsetness about the Fleming not making the finals. Do conservatives come home for Letlow when all is said and done in this race, or do they not vote?
Yeah, no. Largely, they come home. There are always going to be some people in a particularly contentious campaign like that will be turned off. They'll be so disgruntled that they're not going to come out and vote. But most of them are. I think they realize the stakes. Ironically, this poll, that kind of number gets out. Most people aren't going to see it. Activists will, though, and so those who are really diehard Fleming or Cassidy people, even that are just upset, maybe that'll knock them back into reality and get them to turn out and vote for White Road.
And maybe one last question. It's not exactly our home ground, but it's next door. What are you seeing next door? The Tallarico-Paxson race seems to be shaping up as one of the most interesting in the country. Any thoughts on that race? There's going to be enough money in that on the Republican side that they can really amplify some of Tallarico's more controversial positions and statements. And so I think that's going to be able to put him over the top, Paxton, to be able to hold on to the seat for the Republicans.
Dr. Jeffrey Sato, LSU political science professor. Thanks for joining us, sir. We appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Scott Hughes is in studio, in for Mike today, and you're a political analyst. You dive into a lot of these things, and I would like to know from you. There's a lot of talk about the school board race, and big changes are on the way. We're going to have, is it 7 new school board members in Caddo?
In Caddo, technically all school board seats statewide are open. Caddo, several things have caught up, some retirements and some term limits. And so in Caddo Parish, there is guaranteed of 12,
right.
7 new. Guaranteed 7 new.
Okay.
There could be 9, depending on the races.
Right.
In Bossier, only 1 competitive seat. Bossier School Board is going to stay stable. Many of the other local community school board. But Caddo, this is a generational change in the school board.
Who's leaving the school board? I know Steve Umling is running for mayor of Blanchard.
We'll go through real quick. In School Board 1, that's the North, Steve Umling gave up his seat to run for Blanchard mayor.
Okay.
Open seat, I believe Callie Carmichael won that unopposed.
Okay.
So she's in. That's a new one. In School Board 2, Jasmine Green, long-term school board member. She cannot run again. There's 3 people running for that. We'll cover the candidates later on, but that's a new seat. In School Board 3, Dr. Terrence Vincent's the incumbent. He drew 1 opponent, Angela Willis. That'll be a challenge seat. In School Board 4, Don Little. This is the Highland, Piermont area. Don Little's not running. He stepped away. And Matt Shields is the Republican running. And Susanna Polyak, a former school board member, is coming back to run.
Okay.
That'll be a very barn burner race there in School Board 4. In 5, Bonita Dozart is not running again. There's 3 running there, Harris, McCulloch, and McMillan. We'll see who emerges there.
Okay.
In 6, longtime school board member and employee Mary Trammell, that many people know is not running in 6. There's 3 people running there. Kenny Gordon, Dana Fergens-Hawthorne, and Dr. Cleveland Mouton. Got to be a barn burner race in 6. In School Board 7, Jerry Bowman did win unopposed. Okay. In School Board 8, Jerry Bowen, different person. Jerry Bowen drew 1 opponent. That's the incumbent. She drew Emma Shepard. Emma's run many times. I think Jerry Bowen wins that in School Board 8. School Board 9, this is South Shreveport. Barry Rochelle, long-term member. He was a realtor. He's stepping away. That's going to be Kristen Parsons running against Paige Hoffpower. Paige ran for Bessie Board a year or 2 ago. That'll be a good race. In School Board 10, many say this is the key race for the balance of the school board. Katie McLean is the current incumbent, and she drew an opponent in Michael Lafitte, a well-known member of the community. In 10 and 11, Jessica Yates won unopposed. She's back, one of the incumbents. And in 12, longtime board member and teacher Dottie Bell, retired. And there's 3 out there, Larry Wilson, Carter Bedford, and Sheila Wimberly. 7 new school board members in Caddo.
Wow. It's going to be a learning curve.
And a big part of those we often talk about the top of the ballot,
right,
which will be Mike Johnson, the U.S. Senate race, Shreveport Mayor, DA, big races.
Wow.
But all of these are going to be on there along with City Council. And then, quite honestly, in many parts of our community, constables, justice of the peace, and a few judges races.
Interesting.
It's going to be a big ballot.
It really is. Absolutely is. I'm curious, too, when we talk about that Senate race. Letlow's just going to lay low. Are we going to see any kind of mudslinging like we saw in, round 1 and round 2 in this? Or is it going to be way different.
I'm going to say it's going to be way different because remember the mudslinging was a little R on R action.
Absolutely.
We had 3 Republicans with millions each, and they went at each other. And the Democrats sat over here and quietly elected Jamie Davis.
Yep, eating their popcorn.
I think Dr. Sadow very properly. I apologize, we had a little audio issues there. I hope you could hear him, but he very brilliantly laid out the issue. Jamie Davis needs money, and I don't think he's going to get a lot of money. I don't think the National Democrats are going to put money in Louisiana. And I know I'm not a polling fan. To me, polling is snapping time. This race hasn't started yet.
Right.
This race is not going to start till after Labor Day. If Letlow was the least bit concerned, she'd be dropping several $100,000 of her millions she has in her reserve bank. She's not worried at all. She's going to win this one easily, I believe. I think that Davis might be a little more competitive than normal.
Yes.
Because there's some conservatives who might not be excited to go vote. And I think you're going to see this blue wave. But it's not going to be, it's going to be a blue trickle in Louisiana.
Right.
It's not going to raise Jamie Davis. It may have more impact in more local races where turnout, DA's race, mayor races, et cetera. And then I think, and I agree with Dr. Sadow. I think all our incumbent congressmen are safe. Mike Johnson may get a little lower number than Mike likes, but he'll win re-election. I am hearing some rumblings out of Acadiana. Clay Higgins is not drawing crowds. That doesn't, just because you don't draw a crowd doesn't mean they're not going to vote for you.
Right.
But
exactly.
He's struggling right now in town halls and to draw a crowd. And now the real issue down there is it's an open primary.
Yes.
So he could be caught.
Interesting stuff. When we come back, we're going to talk about the case of a brain-eating amoeba case here in our local area. And Scott and I we had a conversation with Dr. Joseph Bocchini. I want to get your thoughts on what he said and how concerned we should all be. We'll talk about that among the two of us when we get back right here. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Back to the big stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Back with Scott Hughes in studio right here on KEEL. And Dr. Joseph Bocchini with Willis Knighton, pediatric specialist, joined us to talk about the brain-eating amoeba. The health department has confirmed there is a local case. We have confirmed it's a young child who apparently is from the Ruston area being treated in a local hospital. Dr. Bocchini couldn't talk about specific cases, as we well know. But he talked in general about it because it's scary to say brain-eating amoeba.
Well, and that's one reason why you and I discussed this yesterday for some of our listeners. And one of the things we were careful to do is not put out misinformation. And so I think and we were more concerned yesterday about the fact that are we getting reporting on these types of things? Because it can be scary. You hear rumors, you hear a child's in the hospital, you hear these terms, and now we're very pressed without having official. So now we know officially what it is. It's what we thought it was. It's a, quote, brain-eating amoeba. I think what's important, I think Dr. Bocchini covered this, and you can address it, is it's not, let's start with what it's not. It's not in the drinking water. Nope,
it is not.
How do you get this? What did you hear him say?
Essentially, he said it's in the lakes because of the heat and the hot water that's in the lakes.
Freshwater lakes.
Freshwater lakes, that it can grow in those lakes. This case is believed to be linked to Lake Claiborne. But it could also be in other lakes because they're all pretty much the same temperature.
And it's not even just being in the lake. It's very specific how it gets in the body, is my understanding.
Inhaled typically through the nose.
Typically through the nose, you've inhaled water through the nose.
Right. So he's not saying don't go swim. He's saying if you do, maybe wear a nose plug. Maybe don't go under the water right now. It's just not a good idea. And
he's definitely, let's start with, he's definitely not saying don't go boating.
Absolutely.
Don't go fishing. I mean, none of those are the activities this would involve being in the lake.
Yes.
And this is not like the entire water. Lake Claiborne's a huge lake. And
what it is it is serious. And if you end up with this, it can cause rapid infection. Kind of the symptoms are similar to flu, possibly, but then they escalate. And then you require hospitalization. And as we understand it, this young child and the family has put messages all over social media asking for prayers. So we know.
And we're not going to say the family's name.
No, I'm not interested in doing that. If you want to go find it, you can find it. It is out there. This child is in the hospital fighting for her life. And they are asking for prayers from our community. So we do need that. This youngster, we're hoping she can make a full recovery. But like Dr. Bocchini said, it can be fatal. It can be a fatal illness that gets into your brain and changes the brain. It can cause he used meningococcal, I can't say the word, but it can cause the meningitis that impacts the brain. So you do need to know that. But the water is safe. There's no problem drinking the water. He did say that if you use a neti pot or one of those inhaling systems, that either boil your water or use distilled water for those if you use those systems, because he just said it is way safer. So just FYI, we do have a confirmed case in the area in a child being treated in a local hospital.
And so don't be afraid to go in the lake. Don't be afraid. I'm going to be careful what I say, but don't be afraid to do your lake things. Just be aware, especially if you're in the Lake Claiborne area. That seems to be where it's at. And I guess our big point when we wrap this up is we want to, whenever we can, support public health. I think one of the things that government can do is assemble this data. It is share with the public and make the public aware of possible health concerns.
Yes.
But it's just like when they put a warning out for anything, it doesn't mean your chance of that is small.
Yes.
But it's not zero.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
that's just what we're trying to make people aware, especially if you are a lake person.
You bet. No doubt. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Back with more of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, I want you to unravel the Jaden Daniels saga. We haven't talked a whole lot about this yet. Jaden Daniels played for LSU, Heisman Trophy winner, superstar quarterback.
He was a video game player among boys on the field.
Yes, he was incredible. An incredible quarterback. He now plays for the Commanders in the NFL.
The Washington Commanders.
Mm-hmm. He has sent LSU a cease and this is old news, but I'm curious how you feel about this. A cease and desist letter because LSU has assigned his jersey number 5, to another player. And he doesn't think his jersey number should be used, or that's at least what the cease and desist order claims. Is this Jaden Daniels doing this? Was this somebody that put him up to this? What's the true story?
We really don't know. What we know is a cease and desist letter was sent to LSU football, LSU athletics, to cease and desist any use of his image and the number 5. Mm-hmm. And then later, a second letter was apparently sent asking for LSU to return the copy of the Heisman Trophy that the school is given. He has his own. He has the Heisman Trophy. Right. And then there's now a replica copy given to the school, and he's asked for that back. And I'd give you the top 5 reasons why, but I'd have to not use number 5 in respect for Jaden Daniels. That's become the internet meme. I mean, Everyone's doing it. And it's really sad. I think that when you really get into it, I want to be careful here. There are huge issues of he's feeling disrespected. Mm-hmm. And the whole issue got started when a new player, let's be honest, Joe Burrow's jersey has not been worn since he won the Heisman. Mm-hmm. And in the earlier hour, we went over LSU has a protocol. They've only retired one jersey, the number 20 Billy Cannon. Mm-hmm. They have a Hall of Fame where they sort of honor a jersey, but those numbers are still worn. Okay,
right,
even one of the most famous jerseys, number 18, is now given as an honor jersey. That's Hester's jersey.
Sure.
And so they may honor some, but still give the jersey out. Well, number 9 has not been worn since Joe Burrow played.
Right.
And number 5 has not been worn since Jaden Daniels played.
Until now.
There's an implied notion they're protecting them for something.
Sure.
And this year, LSU had a new player come in. He's probably going to be an All-American cornerback. Mm-hmm. Part of his NIL, name, image, likeness deal, part of how Lane Kiffin got him there is he wrote in his contract, I want to wear number 5. I don't think he did it to dish Jaden Daniels.
No.
He did it because he's worn number 5 since Pee Wee football. Mm-hmm. It's his number.
Right.
It was one of the ways LSU could get him to come was promise him the number 5 jersey.
And if they told him, no, you can't have number 5, he might be at Ole Miss.
The way kids are today, he might be playing for Ole Miss or Alabama or Ohio State because they give him the number 5. And by the way, number 5 is a pretty famous jersey at Ohio State too.
Yes.
And they let kids wear it up there. Mm-hmm. And so that's what happened. That's where Jaden took umbrage. The letter was sent. And now it's just one of the ugliest fights that are going. I don't see a win for Jaden. And to be honest, there's now some probably racial undertones.
Sure.
Because he's asking, why does the white quarterback's jersey not been worn? Mine's being given away. I saw a guy the other night talking about what I thought was very good. At the end of the day, he made this comment, and it maybe sums mine up. He kind of said, Jaden, at the end of the day, you're not bigger than the program. This is a college. And then he made this point. He said, LSU went and saved you from Arizona State. They brought you and gave you the keys to an offense. And in a season when LSU was losing, they made it about you. No one marketed you heavier. They ran a campaign for your Heisman, and they let you stay in the game and throw 6 touchdowns. They pushed you to the Heisman.
Yes.
And this is how it comes back. And so at the end of the day, I don't think either side looks good. I think Daniels looks worse. Hopefully it blows over, and I'll say this. I hope Jaden Daniels wins an NFL MVP this year for Washington, and I hope the LSU fan base invites him back. But we got to stop fighting over college jerseys.
And I got to props to the Norton Art Gallery because they now close at 4:59 in deference to Jaden Daniels. They no longer close at 5 p.m.
I love that. They're my neighbor, and that
was
is
the best.
That is everyone's memeing the number 5. It's
that
just
was the best.
I feel sorry for Jaden because he's a great kid. He was a great LSU story, and I wish him well.
Back tomorrow, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.